After a video of me cursing non-stop for 2 hours without repeating a word went viral, a wealthy woman contacted me. She offered $10 million a month for me to marry her son. I was about to call her a scammer when I heard her, tearfully saying that her son was gentle and often bullied after an accident. She thought my sharp tongue could protect him. At a party, I saw a refined man in a wheelchair being mocked in silence, and I felt pity for him. So, I agreed. But one day, I caught my frail husband looking powerful, towering over some bankrupt people begging at his feet. Wait a minute, dear mother-in-law, are you sure your son can't take care of himself? Sam, I heard you just got married. Known you for years, I got nothing for ya. A man grinned maliciously at me. If you can't manage, I could step in on the wedding night. I grinned back. What? You wanna listen from under the bed? There's a dog cage in the corner perfect for you. Looking him over with disdain, I said, you're not worth it. Everyone says barking dogs don't bite. Since you bark so much, guess you're not even good enough to be a junk dog. The man blushed with anger. You. I cut him off. Folks, the restroom is temporarily unavailable. His mouth reeks so bad, it's like a toilet. The man jumped up. You're so vulgar. With a shrug, I replied, that's pretty classy for me. Want to hear the nasty stuff? After driving him off, Sam, in his wheelchair, thanked me softly. Seeing him so passive made me want to protect him. Don't worry. I'll always have your back. Sam smiled gently. I'll count on you then, wifey. His single wifey turned my face a bright red. Marrying Sam was absurd. It was a typical summer break when I was washing a pile of my clothes. I hadn't checked for messages on the local power outages, so the washing machine stopped abruptly as the power went out. I had to drag all my soapy clothes outside to rinse them. That's when I heard a strange voice. Kids here never leave the village. Girls grow up uneducated, just to marry young and serve a family, like this girl washing clothes for her household. Showing them the outside world and warmth is our live streaming goal. Never leave the village? Illiterate? Washing for the entire family? I was bewildered. Are they serious right now? The guy was recording with a phone, live streaming, with someone behind him carrying some lights. He was making it up, adding ridiculous tales to solicit gifts. I couldn't stand it anymore. I grabbed a laundry stick and charged at him. I roared. Both the streamer and the audience were stunned. Then, for a full 2 hours, I delivered an expletive-laden performance without repeating a single word. At the end, I showed them my degree and graduation certificate. But the stream got banned due to excessive profanity just as things were heating up, which was just as well. Live streams exploiting others for views deserve to be shut down. Just as I was feeling satisfied, I went back inside, unaware this would make me famous. People clipped the scene, dubbing me the Iron Mouth of the college. Now everyone wanted to hire my cursing services. I didn't pay attention until a call came. 10 million, marry my son. It sounded like an elaborate prank until I found myself in front of their lush 3-story villa. Wow, you guys are serious. A richly dressed woman explained that her youngest son had been in a car accident. Though his life was saved, he'd be in a wheelchair forever. People mocked him openly and behind his back, and she needed someone like me to curse them back. I was overqualified and had the right tongue, basically tailor-made for the job, and apparently the ideal daughter-in-law. Even though it was absurd, something about it felt right. Marriage is a big deal, I hesitated. 10 million. Can I, maybe, meet your son first? 10 million a month. Alrighty, Mom. For 10 million a month, I'd put up with anything, even if he were a toad. But Sam was no toad. In fact, compared to online models, he was even more charming. The most important thing was witnessing him being mercilessly ridiculed at a party, thinking how could they treat someone from such affluence like this. It all made sense when I saw his popular brother Alex being adored in the center. Life in affluent families is complex. Despite his paling face, Sam tried hard to endure it. I've been strong since childhood and can't stand seeing anyone vulnerable. It melts me. I got mad. He's under my protection now. Sam was genuinely kind. Even after his accident, he wasn't bitter or resentful. Unlike me, on day one at the villa, I made 3 sycophantic maids cry. They believed that with Sam's injury, he'd have no chance at inheritance, and so they favored Alex, leaking info left and right. I fired them all on the spot, and Sam offered me a glass of water after. Thirsty? Such a good person, being bullied like this. At night, Sam was even more understanding. I know you don't have feelings for me. Marrying me must have been hard for you. I have no intention to offend you. The villa has many rooms, feel free to pick one. If you like the master bedroom, I'll move out. I firmly refused his offer. You're not in the best of health right now. I need to be able to take care of you. Worried about bumping into Sam's leg, I set up a small bed next to his. In the middle of the night, half asleep, I thought I heard someone talking. Don't need to save it. He thinks dying is the end of it. Even if he dies, he must cough it up. Wait, what? I jolted awake. What if his cheerful demeanor is just a front, and he's actually depressed to the point of considering suicide? I opened my eyes wide and turned my head. Sam wasn't in bed. I rushed to the balcony and saw Sam sitting there, looking lost. He seemed sad, pitiful, and lonely. Hearing the noise, Sam turned around. In the moonlight, he squinted, and a flash of sharpness crossed his eyes. Seeing the crutches on the ground and the wheelchair far away, my heart ached. Can't you get back by yourself? You should have called me. I'm a heavy sleeper, I don't mind being woken up. I pushed the wheelchair over and carefully helped him back to bed. Lying in bed, I couldn't stop tossing and turning. His words "dying isn't the end" kept echoing in my mind. Unexpectedly, we spoke at the same time. What did you hear? You have to stay strong and keep living. Silence. After we spoke, the room fell into a deathly silence. I assumed Sam was upset and even more down after I witnessed it. Thinking, I climbed down from the small bed and got into Sam's bed. Then I gently held his hand. I know it's hard to accept right now. We'll see a doctor and ask around. The world is vast, there's bound to be a miracle worker. Besides, technology is advancing. Just because there's no solution now, doesn't mean there won't be one in the future. There's hope as long as you live. I squeezed his hand. Gotta say, for a rich kid raised in luxury, his skin is really soft. It wasn't until Sam coughed awkwardly that I snapped out of my creep mode and continued. As for those who can't keep their mouths shut, don't worry, I'll teach them what's up. I felt like I got scammed. The pre-wedding agreement was supposed to give me $1 million a month. After marrying him, it turned out to be the total expenses for Sam and me, only $1 million per month. I was dumbfounded looking at the account balance handed by the butler, checking it over and over. Sam sat obediently in the corner, looking a bit embarrassed. I've been a burden to you. I understood his unspoken words. In the brutal world of wealthy families, if Sam were healthy, he might have a shot. But now with his legs crippled, compared to his capable and shrewd brother, he was discarded. He had to live by asking his family for money. Ridiculously rich, but still, they could brush him off just because they think he's useless. I reassured him. It's all right. $1 million is enough. After comforting the fragile flower that is Sam, I turned my attitude around and urgently called the butler. How has $500,000 been spent before mid-month? I puzzled over the bill, astonished at every line. What? Ice cubes that cost over $300 a bag? Made with some heavenly water? Hold on, why does this beef come with a plane ticket costing over 10 grand? Looking it all over, I concluded. Capitalists don't really scam the poor. For instance, the pearl earrings bought for me recently were essentially made of synthetic resin, the bracelet worth over 5 grand? Electroplated copper. I stopped the butler. From now on, I don't need jewelry. With this money, wouldn't buying some pure gold be better for keeping its value? At the very least, I can spend less than 200 and still get genuine pearls. Saving thousands this way. I have no interest in the padded values added by these capitalists at all. At lunch, I watched Sam elegantly cut a piece of steak. Being stared at made him uneasy, so he hesitated and offered me his fork. Do you want a bite? No, you eat. I enthusiastically declined, looking at him expectantly. Sam seemed puzzled but still obediently put the meat into his mouth. Is it good? He nodded. I smiled, with a hint of coaxing. So, compared to yesterday's meat, what's different? Sam paused, fork in hand, looked once, and then again, confused. See. Beef air freighted from Australia and local fresh slaughter beef we eat at my place, essentially no difference. I saved that money. Ha. Capitalists, don't think you can squeeze another penny from me. At the end of the month, it was Sam's brother Alex's birthday party. In the afternoon, I asked the butler to order a brooch and cufflinks worth $50,000 for Sam. Just as Sam walked in, I paused what I was doing and pulled him over. Didn't you say those things are just tacked on capitalist prices? You just sold all your jewelry a few days ago, why order something so expensive for me now? I handed him the chosen design. I'm not interested in these things, but at your brother's birthday party, there will be many familiar faces, and they tend to judge by appearance before personality. We can't let them make fun of us. As for me, everyone knows I'm from the countryside. It's normal to not have luxury goods, right? At worst, I can argue back. Sam was amused and closed the booklet with a smile. Then I won't take it either. You can help me argue back then. He leaned to one side, with a bit of a sly look in his eyes. Alex's birthday party, as expected, wasn't exactly friendly towards Sam. Everyone seemed eager to trample Sam a bit, hoping to win favor at the host family's expense. For this battle, I even went home to learn new insults from my fierce aunts and grandmas at the village entrance. When Sam walked in, I was busy trying out different lipstick shades on my hand. He seriously looked through them and pulled one out. Use this one. I took out another lipstick and swapped it for the one in his hand. Sam gently applied it on my lips with a delicate touch. I looked at myself in the mirror, checking from side to side, super satisfied. Imperial red, anyone who wears it instantly projects power. I'm definitely using this to make a statement today. Sam flashed a tiny smile, dabbed his finger on my lips, then rubbed it on his own lips. Oh really? Then I'll use it to make a statement myself. All the way to the villa's entrance, my face still felt warm. Sam is so good at flirting. I was just calming down and then, in the car, Sam grabbed my hand and put on a bracelet. Sparkly colorful gems glimmered in the sunlight. No woman can resist shiny jewelry. I checked it out from every angle, totally loving it. How did you get this? Weren't we supposed to stick with the minimalist, frugal style? Sam chuckled and winked, got it with my secret stash. I poked him, nice, already hiding money right after we got married. We arrived a bit late. When we walked in, the place was already packed. Everyone was dressed to the nines, mingling, but no one seemed interested in talking to us. From starting trouble to ignoring us, is this their new tactic after realizing they couldn't mess with me? Sam and I couldn't care less. We just live our lives, no point in engaging with these social climbers. I pushed Sam to the dessert table and picked some treats for him. Sam, having been injured before, sometimes gets weak and hypoglycemic. So I keep an eye on his daily meals. Our lovey-dovey ways didn't go unnoticed for long. Alex approached with a glass in hand to greet Sam. After scanning us quickly, he struck a big brother pose, frowning. Why are you dressed so simply? Did your people pocket your money? Bullying you on purpose? If you're short on cash, just tell me. I just worry someone around you might cheat, taking advantage of your disability, eyeing our family's wealth. Alex was targeting me. I rolled my eyes and was about to retort when the man next to Alex jumped in first. Exactly, it's tough to guard against traitors at home. When your family's so big, you gotta manage well. I chuckled and lowered my head to Sam. Is that your grandson? Confused, Sam looked up at me. The man sneered, country bumpkin. Yep, why are you meddling in our family? Got your hands in our business, thought you were Sam's illegitimate grandchild. Alex frowned and scolded me. Guests are guests, no need to embarrass yourself here. Sam's eyes darkened, frowning a bit. Yeah, how could they let someone like her in? Ruins our family's good name. Our second son lost his legs and his taste. I leaned down to Sam again. Got a lot of secret stash? Sam nodded. Great. I straightened up and punched that man right in the eye. Bang, the man cried out and clutched his face. Surprised, Alex looked up to scold me. You. I raised my other hand, smacked him too. The party turned chaotic. I pushed Sam and ran. I pushed his wheelchair so fast we zoomed, hiding in the villa's small garden. I sat down exhausted, looking up to meet Sam's smiling eyes. You aren't mad I caused a scene, right? Sam shook his head, still smiling. What's your take now? He mimicked my tone and said, feels great. Oops, I've corrupted my gentleman. Oh right, I have this. I pulled out 2 pastries from my pocket. Too bad one got squished. Generously, Sam split his with me. He in his wheelchair, me sitting on the ground, sharing a pastry in the garden. Don't we seem like a broke high society couple now? As it turns out, speaking carelessly has consequences. Half a month after our broke couple joke, we faced an unprecedented crisis. Given such a well-established family, it shouldn't have collapsed overnight. But who knew the assets would shrink so fast and the cash flow dry up? Even without much business sense, I sensed something fishy. Then Sam told me our family's bankrupt, they probably can't support him anymore. An idea sparked in my head. Could it be Alex staging this to shake off his brother? I don't want to burden you, he said, looking so nonchalant yet feeling so vulnerable. If you want, we can divorce anytime. No way. Stop overthinking. I hugged him tightly, overwhelmed by the thought of him being abandoned, completely missing the dark look in Sam's eyes. I took Sam to my place in the countryside. My home, tiny as it is, has everything. Sam wheeled around the yard with curiosity. So, what do you think? Pretty nice, huh? I designed it all by myself. I pushed Sam around, showing him the place while explaining. After falling out with family, I moved out and gradually set this up bit by bit. Sam asked why we fell out. They favor boys over girls. At home, I was just an unpaid servant for my brother, couldn't even study. So I just left. Wouldn't take it? Then fight them off. Think my trash-talking skills came naturally? Nope, they're hard-earned from real fights. They play tough but are really cowards. Why else preach obedience and virtue for daughters? They're scared we might all turn fierce and untamable. Back in my own space, I felt peaceful again and ended up chatting more with Sam. That night, we sat on my small bed, with a night light on, creating an intimate mood. Sam half laid there, gazing at me with eyes like autumn lakes. I excitedly jumped onto the bed. All right, let's do something important. I picked up the small bag next to the bed. Let me show you our belongings. Sam's tender expression cracked. 10 million a month isn't much for you rich people, but for us, it's a lifetime's earnings. I've been cutting expenses these last few months for this very day. Sam's expression changed slightly. Your brother sees you as a thorn in his side, that's obvious. And your mom, even though you're her son and she cares about you, she'll ultimately rely on your brother. She'll abandon you if she has to. Otherwise, she would have stood up for you when you were ridiculed, not let me in the door as a pawn. Half the family wealth is already gone. Alex is holding on to what's left, and your mother vanished after the family troubles. Don't worry, the money we have is enough for a good life in the second half. Sam and I settled down. I've got money, time, and a handsome, gentle guy right here. Life couldn't be better. Fate's always been generous to me. Just when I'm happy, a new handsome face moves in next door. Turns out, it's the neighbor's son back from college for a break. The young man is full of energy and polite too, borrowing things from us, putting me in a good mood. Ouch. I'm chatting with the neighbor when Sam suddenly yelps from inside. I rush in. What's wrong? Sam looks pale but reassures me. It's nothing, just a slight pain in my leg. Is that a visitor? Invite them in, we have the new tea to share. I can't think about others now. Since we moved, Sam's leg hasn't hurt. This place is great, but the healthcare's lacking, and I worry because he hasn't gotten checked. I press and massage his leg, anxious. I'm fine, don't worry. But over the next few days, his leg hurts off and on. I'm glued to him, not leaving his side. Still uneasy, I make sure Sam's settled, then go out to buy him medicine. When I return, Sam's chatting over the fence with the neighbor's son. The guy bolts when he sees me, leaving Sam alone, deep in thought. When I get closer, Sam lifts his head and quietly says, "Laura, if you find someone to take care of you, don't worry about leaving me. I'll be okay. I just want you to be happy." Why so sudden? Did that neighbor say something? I keep asking, but Sam won't say any more. That night, Sam's silent. Not finding him in the bedroom, I feel desperate and open the bathroom door. Sam's leaning on the tub, glancing at me, then away. Following his gaze in the steamy room, I notice his fair, attractive skin. Why does someone who doesn't exercise still have such a good figure? It's enviable. I can't help staring. Sam smiles lightly. "Laura, want to touch?" How could I resist? I eagerly place my hand on him. He lies back comfortably, letting me caress him as my fascination grows. Suddenly, he pulls me into the tub. I instinctively struggle, but he holds me by the waist. "Babe, don't move. You wouldn't want to hurt my leg, right?" It's true, pitying a man brings misfortune. If I didn't, I wouldn't be lying here like dried fish. The culprit is playing with my hand from the bedside. "Darling, you're awake." He looks at me, eyes bright. "Didn't you promise yesterday never to leave me, no matter what?" Holding a grudge, I try to pull away, mumbling, "No, I didn't." Sam's eyes dim instantly. "I'm sorry, I'm a burden." I relent. "I did promise." Satisfied? I can't stand seeing him pitiful, always makes me soft. Smart ones avoid love, fools fall again. I'm the fool. But lately, Sam's been acting strange. Before, he was gentle but distant. Now he's all weak and needy, insisting I promise not to leave him. It's like he thinks I'm some heartbreaker. Then, one night, I acted sick to get a break from him and didn't sleep as deeply. Half awake, I hear him get out of bed, but not the wheelchair sound. How's he walking without it? I force my eyes open and see his shadow at the door, standing. Of course, I don't think this is a miracle. It's clear the poor little thing is hiding something. Angrily, I follow him outside. The night is cool, and Sam's standing, acting indifferent to the groveling man below him. He even steps on the man's hand. I laugh in disbelief. Never thought my little yard would see this kind of showdown. As I debate whether to ruin his imposing moment by scolding everyone, he notices me and looks up. Our eyes meet. He softens, about to show his usual pitiful act. Addicted to acting, huh? 5. The truth is as dramatic and absurd as the rich family novels I've read. But the difference is, the dark, ruthless male protagonist of those novels is right here beside me. Sam and his brother have been fighting, both openly and secretly, for years. Alex thought an accident declared his victory. Little did he know, it was just the beginning of Sam's plan. The financial issues were Sam's way of clearing things out. He used it as a chance to split from his family and then began his counterattack. And about that so-called broken leg, it was fine from the start. So basically, you're healthy now and loaded with cash? I asked. Sam sat carefully on the sofa, nodded cautiously, then quickly added, I did hurt my leg in that accident, it aches when it's rainy. He looked down, pulling off an act of looking pitiful. You promised me, no matter what, you'd never abandon me, he reminded. I chuckled, looked up at him, and seeing his nervous look, I started packing my stuff. Oh boy, I'm gonna live the dream life. Not abandoning you means I'm moving into your big mansion, right? Seriously, who would be stupid enough to run away from a husband who's gone from a pitiful cripple to a wealthy tycoon? Will I still get the monthly 10 million? I asked on our way back. Sam's eyes had a conflicted look, same as his feelings. I'll double it for you. I cheered and hugged him. While Sam took his sweet time being all cautious and testing, I quickly accepted his new identity and moved into the fancy place he set up for me, brimming with energy. Sam's rise caused quite a stir. Every day, a bunch of people nervously came by, offering apologies and pleas, some of whom I'd cursed out before. Whenever this happened, Sam would glance my way. But I wasn't bothered, I was too busy admiring the luxurious spiral staircase for the 108th time. Sam had just signed this villa over to me yesterday. How did I come into possession of such an amazing house? What a thrill. As Sam's worth skyrocketed, so did my number of rivals. To be honest, I didn't really care. If he gives me 2 million a month, he can have his own little harem for all I care. However, Sam had no intention of leaving me idle. Whenever we were at events and people tried introducing themselves, he'd nimbly step back and casually say, sorry, but you don't want to mess with my wife. That's when I would swoop in, all guns blazing, to knock down anyone hovering around Sam. People already knew how feisty I was back when Sam faked being lame, now I was famous as a fiery tiger. Whatever, for all the money he gives, I'll put on the act. But things seemed different today. Sam texted me to come over, and I could tell he was already a little tipsy. The woman next to him was decked out in luxury items, clearly from a wealthy family. Most importantly, her proud posture made it hard to tell which of us was the real deal. Some busybody quickly informed me, that's Sam's ex-fiancée. Oh. Whether it's an ex-fiancé or an ex-fiancé, past is past, so why is she trying to make a scene here? Hello, ex, I greeted politely. Laura, right? I suggest you recognize your place. You come from the countryside, you're not fit for Sam. Get a clue, she retorted. Classic lines, like something out of a soap opera. I held on to Sam and shot back, but he gives me 2 million a month. Want your family to up the ante? Laura was so frustrated, she took a deep breath. Aren't you a college student? How can you not feel ashamed being a freeloader instead of working after graduation? She continued. Ashamed? I repeated the word exaggeratedly. I'm a pink-collar worker, you know. Ever heard it said, a pink-collar worker makes less than $3,500 a month? What would you choose? Sam didn't seem too thrilled. Once we got home, he sobered up, but stayed quiet. He sat pondering on the sofa before blurting, honey, maybe you should yell at me. What kind of request is that? I feel like you don't like me, you just love my money. That hurt. Heaven knows I'm innocent. I adore your abs every night, how is that not love? No, Sam stumbled over his words, that's not what I meant. I feel like you're not that invested. I mean, you didn't even get mad at me for hiding such a big secret, shows you're not that emotionally invested in me. What kind of logic is that? So what's the plan? I asked cautiously. Feel hurt, angry, sad, ignore me, watch me beg. And then? I finished for him. Finally forgive me, and we piece back together. Exactly, I said, slapping my thigh. We're already at that last step, the happy reunion. Sam had more to say but I pinched his face. Sam, I know what's bothering you. First, you didn't do me wrong. And I've come this far by loving fiercely, hating boldly, without whining or self-sabotage. I pick what's best for me, without hurting others. Sure, people can say I'm eager for benefits, I don't mind. I'm absolutely sure I'm moving forward with someone I like. I'm not letting the past ruin the present. Enjoying every moment now, that's what truly matters. End. Extra. Sam. The word about my leg spread fast, unfolding just as he had planned. Alex was overconfident, acting like he won, and people around me showed their true colors. Sam smirked internally. Much better, he'd settle scores later, leaving none unchecked. What he didn't expect was the wife who came out of nowhere. At first, he thought she was a spy Alex or his mom sent, but after a few days of observing, he concluded otherwise. She didn't seem like one of Alex's. So, she was just after the money. 10 million a month, gosh, his mom sure was generous. It's all just crocodile tears. Otherwise, he wouldn't be covering up the accident investigation, trying so hard to protect his eldest son. He deliberately tipped off the housekeeper, telling them to split the $1 million expense between two people, and even threw in some crazy expensive luxury bills for her to see. As expected, when she found out, she was so anxious. She secretly cut a huge chunk out of the villa's expenses. Just a vain, petty woman. But he was kind of into it. Especially when she stood in front of him. He had seen enough of the fake smiles and hidden agendas of the wealthy. The straightforward approach was really refreshing. When he said it out loud, he even surprised himself. He knew what kind of person she was, but found himself slowly getting influenced and charmed by her. Being with her was pure joy, if he didn't have to play the pity card. In his opinion, people who constantly sympathize and pity others are just uselessly kind and foolish. Yet, he kept using her sympathy and pity to his advantage. It seemed the only way to grab her attention more and get just a bit more love from her. When the whole plan started to crumble, and while the metaphorical beast awaited its feast, he felt a twinge of regret and unease. Would his money-loving young wife leave him? That would be such a shame. Not because pretending for so long was all for nothing, but because he couldn't continue acting like a loving couple with her. Then again, maybe there's no need to regret it. She loves money, so when his plan wraps up, he can just bring her back. With a little coercion and temptation, even if she ditches him once, he's got ways to make her stay, though she won't exactly enjoy them. Lost in thought, he found himself oddly looking forward to it. But once again, things didn't turn out as he expected. That wife he thought only loved money, well, she chose him this time. Even the sneaky budget cuts she made turned out to be her way of planning for unexpected situations. Someone with a dark mind fears encountering someone with a clear heart. She's like a mirror reflecting all his shadows and ugliness. Although he seemingly had the upper hand, he kept postponing closing the deal. Suddenly, he was afraid to speak up, afraid to reveal everything to her. Would she accept his darkness and schemes? So this is what it feels like to be scared when home is near. She accepted everything with unexpected ease, yet he wasn't that happy about it. Did she not care about him? Why wasn't she mad at him? Sam, who slept soundly while building up his schemes, suddenly couldn't sleep. He tried testing her with his ex-fiancée, but she still seemed unfazed. Listening to her, he finally realized that from the beginning, Laura was clear-hearted and insightful. Warm, honest, and passionate, she always lived in the moment. She showed kindness to everyone, capable of sympathy, mercy, indifference, and without hang-ups. Shining like the sun, she'll always be radiant, and he wanted to follow that sun, banishing his gloom.